All right. Welcome to the special meeting of the Farmers Market, Thursday, October 22nd. Let's take roll call. Pam Ball, Market Manager.
Lori Harry, Assistant Market Manager.
Pete Harry, Committee Member.
Melody Ferris, Secretary.
Jamie. April Brunel is not able to make it. Ellen Granger is not able to make it. Bill Thorne will be a little bit late. And I see Jamie's phone, but I don't hear her. So we have to get a quorum before we start doing any voting.
I just texted Jamie.
Okay. And the meeting was called to order at 5:32.
She is on, but for some reason she's having a problem talking in, but she is working on it. She's on mute. Oh, you're not mute. You're not on mute now.
Can she hear us?
I think so. Yes, she can hear us.
Okay. I think
Bill's here too.
okay, great. Bill, are you good to go? You can hear us and everything?
Jamie's going to log out and log back in and see if that works.
Okay. All right. So since Jamie has to leave a little early, the things we need to vote on are expenditures, dates, prices, and then the rest of the stuff I think we just can talk about and decide how we want to do things. Bill, are you on? I see Bill. I think Jamie's re-logging in. I see that. Well, we do have a quorum, so while we're waiting for
Bill,
Jamie.
you're muted.
Yeah, Bill's muted. Melody's muted. Pete and Lori are muted, which is fine. So I had proposed a 14-week market season, and I know Lori wanted to talk about that. So I had sent around the dates that I had proposed. One thing I'm thinking is maybe we don't do the one after Valentine's Day and we have a 13 market season and we don't change the price. So we still charge $145 for 13 weeks. And in the summer, we charge $145 for 16 weeks. So it gives us the advantage for every market that we have. Anybody have any thoughts on that? I can't start it on the 7th of November because I have to do the Red Sleigh Bazaar that weekend.
Hi, Pam. And yes, you do so much, including the Red Sleigh Bazaar. I guess the question I had is from after probably Christmas, it's probably pretty much, there's no produce left. Is that a fair? No, there's still produce?
Yeah. Commercial farms have, they have high hoop tunnels, but they still have a lot of greens all the way to the end of the market. So
oh, good. All right.
it is good. My personal thought is that we'll probably be closed down for January and February. My thinking is that between the flu and COVID, we may not even feel safe having the market then. But I think we have to plan out the dates because we have to use the number of weeks to divide into the price of the market so we know what to charge every vendor every week. So, Lori, did you have some thoughts?
Do we have confirmation from Brush Hill yet?
She answered the survey and said they would be there.
Oh, so you don't have to run it.
I don't have to run it.
Yeah, because honestly, they are 75% of the market. I mean, I'm not, but
Oh, they are.
they are the draw. And Bill, they have amazing produce all season. They have potatoes and greens and carrots and Brussels sprout. Oh my God, tons of stuff.
What about beets? Do they have beets?
No beets, no bears, no Battlestar Galactica.
They have milk and meat as well.
So that was really my question because.
Yep. She said, I sent her a message and I asked her about it. I volunteered to do the booth and she said, I know what's going on. And then she responded
My
to
video is not working on the computer. We can't find it.
Oh, jeez.
But we can hear you and you can hear us.
Can you hear me now finally?
Yes.
Oh, thank God. Okay, so I'm gonna put myself in mute and I'm still working on the camera.
Jay,
worry
we
about
know
the
what you look
camera.
like.
So we were discussing market
Yep.
and, plan for a whole market. I honestly don't think we'll be open for the whole season, but I had proposed November 14th to February 20th and then changed my thinking on that to why don't we quit at February 13th and it'll be 13 weeks for $145.
Okay.
But then the plan is just to refund everyone when
No,
we cut it short.
No.
Well, I have some ideas for that and I want to hear your ideas because it's really a hassle for us to do all those purchase orders. So does a November 14th start date sound good?
Yep, that works.
And then stop on the 13th?
Yep.
Okay, great. And the price will keep, and it works in our favor, still 145. We'll probably break even every week between paying for Our Lady of Lourdes and signs and stuff like that. There you are. So we have to vote on our expenditures. Let's get that out of the way. The first thing we need to vote on, I'll make a motion to spend up to $1,400 to rent Our Lady of Lourdes Church. That's $100 extra than we need, but it's $100 a week. We don't have to spend it all.
Lori Harry, I second the motion.
Okay, any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
I think
Aye.
Melody has a question. Melody has a question too.
Okay.
It had to do with how much we were charging vendors. We skipped that and we'll probably go back. So we'll talk about it then.
Oh, okay. I didn't know we had to vote on that, but yes, we'll go back and do that. So are we
So I don't
unanimous
think we have to
on?
vote on it, but
Okay. So we're unanimous on $1,400 for the purchase order? These are basically purchase orders. Okay, I make a motion to open up a purchase order for $300 for 12 new road signs. Is that going to be enough? Lori?
I think we can just do one. Can we do it under one expenditure?
Well, they're going to go to different places. So this way we'll have individual approvals for all the individual purchase orders.
Okay. Are we going to go through copycats again?
If they're the cheapest,
No, we did fast signs last time.
whoever's the cheapest and can do them in time for the road signs.
Okay. I'm sure
So-
that's. Do we want them as large as the other ones were? Those you could see really well.
That's a lot more money, right?
I don't think it was a lot. I can find out the price difference.
Okay, so I will change my,
because when we bought it's 10, and I think we paid 120 when we went with Patty Todd. So, I mean, if we're doing 300,
is that enough?
I would say it would be enough.
Is that all that you need for signage? What about the A-frames? Are those all set?
No, those are all set.
Just say today and this time.
Just leave it at $300. It's more than enough. I doubt you'll even hit half of that, but just leave it in there in case of more signage comes up throughout the season.
Exactly. Exactly. I don't mind having a purchase order for too much. It's a pain in the neck when it's not enough. Anybody? Okay, so I will say I make a motion for spending up to $300 on road signs.
I'll second that, Lori Harry.
Okay, all in favor? I see it is unanimous, so that passes. The next thing to vote on, I had suggested making a motion for $200 for safety supplies. We should have plenty left over from the summer, but who knows? So I just made a motion to spend a couple $100 extra on that just in case.
Second.
Second by Bill Thorne. Any other discussion? Okay, so all in favor? Look, see all hands up, so that's unanimous. The next thing is April, she's not working right now. I don't think it's fair to ask her to provide balloons for free, so I put in $40 for balloons. That's my next motion is to allow for $40 worth of balloons for the winter market.
I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
Is April going to be at the market every week? Has she decided if she's working the market, like not even just selling, just going to be there to work as?
The impression I got from her is if she could sell every other week, she'd be happy and then work every other week,
Okay.
which would put her there to help get the vendors settled.
I just didn't know if she wasn't going to be there every week, because then to me she would have to do the extra work of going out and putting the balloons on the signs when she's not going to be there and all that stuff. So I thought we could throw her extra just for doing that. But since she's going to be there, no big deal.
Okay. So somebody want to, will somebody second? Jamie second?
Jamie second.
Jamie second. The discussion? All in favor? I see everybody's hand except Melody's. Unanimous, no abstentions, no no's. The last thing is $20 a week for Facebook boosts. So I will make a motion to spend up to $300, $20 a week for Facebook boosts.
I'll second that.
Second by Jamie. Any other discussion? All in favor? Woo, we're rocking right along. It's unanimous. All right. I don't think we need to technically vote on the dates, do we? We do? Okay. So I propose the dates for the market: Saturdays, 9 to noon, November 14, 21, 28, December 5, 12, 19. January is a long month. 2nd, 9th, 16th, 23rd, 30, February 6th, and 13th. Lori.
How does everybody feel about actually having it the weekend of the 2nd? Just because it's New Year's weekend and people may be going away or doing something, partying.
So
I mean,
I thought about that. I don't really like having 2 weeks off because we'll have to get the momentum going again.
Christmas.
Yep.
All right.
Any other comments? I don't think I have a second on that motion.
Second, Lori Harry.
Okay. I'm exhausted. We're going so fast. All in favor of the market dates? Okay, show of hands. It's unanimous. And prices. So we had I'm proposing 145, 85, and 25. Melody?
Now, are we sure we're not going to have to hire a cleaner? Because I know we had discussed that. Like, how sure are we that we're not going to have somebody come in and clean? Because we don't want to have to try and charge them after the fact.
Right. So in the final tally of all of the people that responded to the survey, 6 full-time vendors said that they would help clean. So I figure if we do the bathrooms and they did the floors and the surfaces, that's good.
Melody, and we were talking about not letting patrons. I don't think we're going to let patrons use the bathrooms. It'll only be vendors, so that we don't have to worry about 900 different people going into the bathroom. It
Yeah.
would just be,
So there's no coffee.
But we still have to clean them if we're using vendors and participants.
right, but they won't be as gross as if you let 200 public people use them.
But I guess the question I have is, why don't we want to hire? I have no idea what the cost is, so I'm speaking out of turn, but why don't we want to have a professional come in and clean, given the circumstances? And I guess the question I have is, what is Lady of Lords? Are they satisfied with just us cleaning?
Yes. Yes.
They are?
Mhm.
Well, of course, if it's like most churches, they probably have somebody that comes in and cleans on a regular basis anyways. Okay, so what would that entail? Mopping the floors?
So when I spoke with Father Brian, I told him we would do doorknobs and surfaces that were touched, the bathrooms, sweep the floors, and spot clean the floors if something was spilled. And he was fine with that. He just wants everybody that comes in there to use hand sanitizer. They don't have on gloves. Melody?
All right, so this is my thought. We're going to have to buy cleaning stuff and everything. I don't think it's fair for the 6 vendors that agreed to help us clean, that the other vendors don't have to do anything. So I feel like they should at least have a fee for cleaning that'll cover our at least cleaning expenses that the people that are helping clean don't have to pay, because that's not fair.
Okay. Lori?
So I know don't we have a ton of sanitizer spray left from, because honestly, that never got used. So we have a ton of sanitizer spray. I don't really think we're going to have to spend a lot. And I don't think, Pam and I were discussing it. I think we should make a motion to have the money to spend if we decide to need a cleaner, but I think we should see how the first couple of markets go and then decide, because I don't think we're really gonna need somebody to do that.
Yeah, it sounds like a pretty simple cleanup they're asking for. It doesn't sound
And really,
that bad.
I don't think we're asking vendors to, go around doing doorknobs and stuff. I think it's mostly like Brush Hill. Oh my God, she used to leave such a mess on the floors and that sort of stuff. So maybe just people picking up after themselves a little bit is more along the lines of what we're thinking.
She was one that said that she would help clean. So that's good. And the guest vendors said they would help clean. Some of the part-time vendors said they would help clean. So at least 9 people said they would help clean.
What about a?
Sam, can you see Melody?
See Melody, yeah. She had her hand up. Did you want to say something else, Melody?
I was just saying, like, even if we said, okay, I just think that, we have vendors that are willing to help and other ones that are like, I just want to get in and get out. I just think that there should be something that says, okay, we appreciate you stepping up and helping us. $5 less or $5 more for the people that don't help. per season, and that still gives you about what, 20, 30 bucks, 40 bucks, or whatever. That'll cover the supplies. Since they're not willing to help, at least they can do something that assists in helping. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
How about a refundable portion? You know, the fee, cleaning fee, and then the cleaning fee is refundable. I know that gets into all kinds of complications with the town if people participate. I mean, I agree. I mean, I think you're going to struggle getting people to do the kind of cleaning that probably needs to be done. I mean, they're probably thinking the typical cleanup pre-COVID, and this is probably going to be a little more extensive, at least from the sanitizing perspective. I mean, I have to agree. I mean, some want to help, some don't. It's not fair that they don't get charged. You know, the people that don't want to help get charged the same as people that help.
Lori?
How many full-time vendors do we have?
Potentially.
Estimated.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11.
Okay, so my idea is first market, we, and in your email, we tell them that the cleaning fee is a flat $20 cash, but they don't add it into your check. It would just be a $20 flat cash fee. And at the end of the market, whenever we decide, if we can't go through January or whatever, maybe those people who have helped us, we can just give the $20 back. That way it's not added into their check. It would just sit in petty cash in an envelope. And it would be easier than trying to collect it in a check every week if we were going to give it back, because that's going to be a pain in the butt. Or we don't give it back at all. Or we just say $20 flat fee for supplies.
And then would we do that for a guest? So a guest spot would become $45?
No, just full time. But they don't have to.
Mm. So Lori's estimate was $30 a week for a cleaning person. So
Because you're looking at about an hour. I don't see it being more than an hour.
Pete?
This isn't going to be very popular in this house, but I'm going to say it anyway. I think it's just the cost of doing business. I don't think you pass that along to the vendors, right? I mean, we're already grateful that they're participating in the market, right? So the cleaning supplies, it doesn't sound like the cleanup's really going to be all that different than last year, quite honestly. Maybe the doorknobs and a little extra sanitizing, but we're talking an extra 10 minutes from 5 people, you know what I mean?
Exactly.
And as far as like not fair to the ones that are helping, while I do agree with that, everyone on this volunteers, right? We volunteer on this committee, right? Why do you volunteer? You volunteer because you want to volunteer. You don't expect anything in return. So I think we're making a big deal out of nothing. If they agreed to help, we say thank you for your help, and that's it. And if someone goes really above and beyond, and we want to give them a bottle of wine or something at the end of the season as a thank you gift, or whatever, a little gift basket or whatever, then that's fine. But
I agree. And I really don't think we're going to have to buy a lot of cleaning supplies. And this is coming from somebody who cleans.
So do we want to table this until November 7th and think a little bit? So my thinking is it's one way that the vendors can thank us because we do so much for them. And I think that asking them to clean is really a small ask for what we're doing for them so that they can earn a living. Yep, Bill?
Yeah, I sort of agree with you, Pam. I mean, we aren't making a profit. We personally aren't making anything off this. We're volunteers. It doesn't seem unreasonable in the current environment. I think people understand that cleaning needs to be a part of any mass gathering like this. Now, I'm not saying it's a mass gathering, but I think it's not unreasonable. So to add, $5, $10 on to the, as a fee, if they're, You either participate or you get charged an extra amount. Seems simple to me and straightforward. And I mean, it's great to say, but I'm a volunteer. I don't want to go, do extra work already. I'm already tying my weekends up for, I don't know, most of December and January and February. That seems like I'm putting out a lot and they can put out a little bit.
Melody?
The other thing we could just say is you're required to clean up after your own area. That way, the other cleaning, like the wiping down of things and the cleaning the bathroom, that's up to us. And we can do a quick sweep afterwards, but they're required to clean up after their own areas. Because a lot of the vendors will just leave and, like you said, left a mess. But if we say you're responsible for your own area, then at least they have to contribute something, even if it's just picking up general stuff.
That's
Just a
true.
thought.
Well, I think, we're going out on, it's a lot for us to put the market on, and I'm fine with them helping. And I'm not sure.
I agree with Melody. Make them responsible for their own spots 100%. And that way we will take care of everything else.
So have them, okay.
Like, I'm trying to think. Smiths, they always leave a mess on the floor. Tell them they're required to, sweep up all their lettuce and all the crap that's on the floor. Every vendor should be responsible themselves, just like Melody said, because then we don't have as much to do at the end. That seems very fair. And then we can wipe down the doorknobs and stuff like that. But they're taking care of their own space. If they have a spill, they should be. But now they can use they can use our stuff. I mean, we have our supplies there. They don't need to bring their own broom or their own mop. But I like Melody's idea. I think that sounds fair.
And if you did offer to clean their own spot, and then the ones that want to help clean, they can help clean out of the goodness of their heart. Yeah, Melody?
Just real quick. So, I mean, how often are we helping them load up their vehicles and stuff at the end of the market? So to ask them to help us a little bit, I think a lot of them will be more than willing to do it. So.
Yeah, when the first responses came back from the survey, there were not a lot of people that said they would help, but I was surprised that there actually were quite a few. Laura.
I think that maybe we should have, at least for the full-time vendors, I think we should have a paperwork for them for when they come in that they have to sign, saying they agree to, as a full-time vendor, they agree to clean up their own space, that they agree to adhere to the DOAG guidelines, wearing gloves and masks, and they agree to whatever guidelines we set.
So I sent that
Did
around.
you already have that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Around with the meeting with the meeting notes. But I add clean your own spot to that. Yep.
I would just say that's not just for full-time vendors, part-time vendors, guest vendors, they all need to know that they're responsible for doing that.
Yep.
I meant full-time and part-time, and then
All the time.
Bill?
How many people are you planning to have to do this cleanup at the end? I mean, I know you're going to divide the schedule into early and late, but I mean, how many people are you going to have there to do the bathrooms, the doorknobs, the sweeping? And as Melanie just said, which I didn't realize, help the vendors get stuff out the door.
We have obligation to help the vendors get stuff out the door. It helps us clean up faster because it gets them out of our way. A lot of our time at cleanup is just spent waiting for the vendors to go so that we can do the cleanup.
it doesn't take a long time to clean up, like Pam said.
Yeah. It doesn't take a long time to do
The
it.
actual cleanup takes about 15 minutes, 20 minutes.
The breakdown for the summer market, Bill, is much more extensive than the cleanup of the winter market by
Yeah.
far, even though it was super easy this year. So say it took an hour to break down after every summer market. We're talking like when everyone's out, it's like 20 minutes to clean up and put everything away after winter, right, Pam?
Yeah. So for staff, we need two staff at the market for the 3 operating hours, so we can count the people coming in and count the people going out, so we can regulate the number in the room. So it can be the same 2 people. Jamie has to go.
Bye, everybody.
Thank you for chiming in. So we will have 2 people at the beginning, two people throughout the market, and 2 people at the end. And sometimes Paula comes in and she helps clean. And if the vendors help clean, there'll actually be quite a few people doing it. Melanie.
And without the food being like breakfast and everything, it's going to be a lot easier, because that
Yeah.
was another thing we had to wait for and clean up after. So it really will be easy. I think that by requesting them to pick up their own space, it's just making them aware that they need to be cognizant of their own area. Whereas a lot of times I think they just leave and don't think about us having to pick up after them.
There's a few I don't think us, and there's a few I think do, but I think a lot of them don't. So I will, in the safety document, Pete.
Back to Bill's question. I mean, I would think having 3 people there for cleanup would be
More than
enough, right? 3 people would be really good. Maybe 1 person dedicated for bathrooms, 1 person dedicated to something else, and so on. I think 3 would be pretty cool.
And it seems that people want to be there one entire shift and not so much split.
Yep. So, and
Makes it easier.
if Paula's a floater, then that's our 3rd person. And I think Lori's idea is good too. Plus, $30, if we had to pay $30 a week, that's another 300 and some odd dollars for us to spend. It'd be nice to recoup a little bit from the summer, So I think that's good for cleaning. We'll require them to clean up their spot. They all have to sweep their spot, wipe down anything that they used, and basically we should have to just sweep up their piles, the bathrooms, and the doorknobs.
It's not like we have to clean their tables or anything, because they bring them in and they take them right out.
So speaking of tables, I don't think they have storage at Our Lady of Lourdes, and there's 12 round tables that are in place. I'm going to ask the vendors who can to use those tables, so that all they have to do is clean off the table, wipe it down, put it back. All we'll have to move is the chairs. We won't have to roll up the tables and fold up the legs and get them out of the way for every vendor that uses them. I think that would be good. I'm a little worried about how many we can fit in there. I have to go measure, but last year we had a lot of booth creep. I call it booth creep. People who were bringing 10-foot tables, bringing 4 tables. Yeah.
There's definitely 2 big culprits in that.
Yeah. So I don't, after I measure, maybe we can think about, do we want to have space and a half and charge for that? Because you can't have booth creep this year because people have to stay apart. So before it was just a crowding issue. Now it's a separation of people issue. So I'll measure, and then we can probably, discuss by email if we want to have, space and a half. Do we not want to have space and a half? Maybe we just tell people, look, this is the space you have and you have to fit in it, and there's no going around it. So Jamie's back.
My meeting, they bumped my meeting back a half of an hour.
Oh.
Or forward. They bumped it forward a half an hour. So I'm here.
So we're talking about booth creep.
I think until we figure out how many we can have in there, then
we have to wait on that.
I say yes if we end up having the space to booth creep with cupcake for later, and what is it? Who's the Sweet Hill? No, who does the teas?
Bittersweet. I'm not sure.
Bittersweet's a big creeper.
For His Glory and Anna Lynn.
Is Anna Lynn actually coming this year?
She expressed interest. Yep.
Yeah, she's a giant.
Well, so
Creeper. She's a creeper.
Bill,
So are we gonna mark the floor off, do you think? Is that how we're gonna define? So it ought to be easy to control it, at least from a perspective of here's your space.
yes, you would think.
Yeah, you'll find out once you're there.
But then, like we did, sort of every other space at the summer market, are we gonna mark them off and then have a 6-foot empty space and then,
At least.
okay, all right.
Yeah,
So,
at least.
so potentially there's that open space they could creep into, which is what we want to avoid.
We need to avoid that because then that puts the shoppers close to each other. That's the problem. Outside, it wasn't as big an issue, but a lot of people kind of went over the edges outside too. Honestly, if we have 11 full-time vendors, we're not going to have room for much more in there, I don't think. So we may not have to do as much shuffling around as we did this summer either with this guest, that guest, this part-time, that part-time, because we may just simply not have the room. So I'll measure it and then I'll let you know what the measurements are and what I think can fit, and then we can decide if we're gonna just you get the space you get, or you buy a space and a half, or you buy two. Smiths usually buy 2 spaces, and then we'll have to take it from there.
Yeah, I don't think they're gonna need it this year. He barely needed it last year.
Yeah, Terry responded to the questionnaire, but her responses didn't really make sense, so I'm not quite sure what she's going to do yet. But if we have brush hill, that's really all we need. So we talked about cleaning, we talked about prices. Did anybody?
If you need help going over and take measurements, drop me a text and I'll come over and help you.
Oh, okay, that'd be great. Did anybody look at the vendor safety agreement that I sent around? It said stuff like,
I didn't even see it.
yeah, so basically it says, we will be imposing the guidelines that we determine. 3 strikes, you're out of the market for the rest of the season. If the market is asked, we will provide attendance data for the vendors. If the market is asked, we will take temperatures. The rest of it's masks.
Yeah, I thought it
and
looked good.
gloves. Was there anything that we missed on that?
I didn't, other than what we just discussed, I thought it was pretty, because you left some of them open-ended, where you said based on if JOAG requires, you will follow those requirements. So as long as you keep it like that, because things change every 5 seconds, you can't put everything in there, but just saying that we will. So I think it looks good.
Okay. And it's a moving target. We're so lucky that we're having this in a moving target situation. So I'm going to add cleanup to that.
I just saw it.
That's okay. Anything to add to it or change?
If I'll go through it
Let me know tonight.
more thoroughly. I will.
Okay.
After this,
Okay. So patron safety, we're going to have to go back to our stricter rules from the summer. No more than 2 shoppers per family. So a parent can bring a child or 2 adults. I don't think we're going to get away with 1 because we're going to have all those moms pushing back against us, but we can't have all those kids in there this year. This is a supermarket.
we need to make sure Linda pushes this as a get in and get out situation. There's not going to be any lingering, no, standing there and talking. Oh, and I think we should put that, maybe we can add it to our rule sign that just says, please don't linger or standing and talking.
Yeah.
Oh, no blocking the, that kind of thing.
No blocking. Yep, Jamie. Oops. Is Jamie leaving now, or did she have her hand up?
She had her hand up and she's muted, but now her camera disappeared.
Hi. Can you hear me now?
Yep.
Okay. So if we could use one of the sandwich boards, maybe, and have that 2-person limit strictly enforced, like big as you can fit on that sandwich board, so that takes some of the pressure off of us. No exceptions, strictly enforced, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? That's all that's on the sign, so that it's up there, so that we're not put in that position. Now, if they're choosing to go forward, now they already know it before them. You know what I mean?
Yep, we can do that.
I can make that up. That's no.
All of our A-frame signs, or almost all of our A-frame signs, are one-sided. So all we have to do is flip them over. We can write whatever we want on the other side.
Okay.
So the one thing that, oh, Bill?
Are we going to limit the number through the door in terms of the number actually physically in the space?
Yes. And this will include vendors and market staff.
What is the 50% capacity, Pam?
So right now it's 100 people. Indoor
100 people.
gatherings are 100 people, but we can set any limit we want. If we think that's too many people, we don't have that many people in there. That's why I want to get in there and measure and think about how the lines are going to go, like we had at the farmers market and stuff like that. Yep, Lori?
Let me know when you go, because I can help you map that stuff out too.
That'd be great. Bill, if you want to go too.
Just,
Well, Melvin and I are right down the road, so that's an easy one for us, even in the middle of the workday.
Because I was just going to go and mark it all out and see how, thinking about the tables, what to do with the tables and how to use them to, put caution tape up and try to control the crowd. So they're in a room. You can go in one door around the market, you go out another door, and it's on the side of the building, but it leads to the same parking lot. So we can have complete one-way traffic. And people can't, if they want to come in and get outside, or they have to come to the table and tell us. That'll make a big difference in stuff. The only thing that, oh, go ahead, Bill.
We're also going to limit the number of people the vendors can bring, right? I think we did that in the summer market.
Yep.
Yeah. Most people only are one person. There's only a few that are two.
Yep. The only thing Media Lords wanted was everybody to use sanitizer. So, and we've got gobs of sanitizer, so I think we're good on that. So the person who's letting people in might need to spray people's hands, and this way nobody touches anything.
I was just going to say that we can just count and go.
Yeah. So yeah, we're going to do this with a minimum number of staff, minimum number of shoppers, a minimum number of vendors. And we'll set out the donation jar at every market to recoup our COVID costs. I think that's fair, since we didn't really do much of that at the summer market. And the only other thing, so right now we can do 100 people. I think if it goes down to 50 people, that would let us have 25 vendors and 25 shoppers. If it goes below that, I think we'll have to cancel the market. Because if we can only have 25 people in the room, that's all vendors. We only be able to let in, I don't know, a shopper.
But Pam, when you were saying 100 before, is that 50% of the? Is there 250 and 100 is the number of 50%, or the allowable is 100, so the 50% is 50 people? Is that correct?
No, the indoor gathering is a number of 100 people.
Okay, all right. So that room allows 200 people, so we're only allowed to have 100 then, because it's 50% of the capacity of the room, I believe, right?
The way I read it was 100.
That's only in restaurants. This is for actual gatherings.
Right. So it's 50%.
Well, the room can hold 400. I don't think. Go ahead.
I was going to say not for social gatherings. Social gatherings have a specific limit set by the governor, and it's not the same as like restaurant capacity or that sort of thing. So it's 100 people, I believe, indoors now.
Period.
And then is it 50 outside or 30, 25? I don't know, for outdoor. Maybe
It's funny because the church goes by percent capacity, but certain things go by absolute number. So at the moment, according to the state, our absolute number is 100. And Our Lady of Lourdes wants us to go by the state number. Nothing that DOAG says, nothing that, I mean, unless those are stricter, but they want us to go by the state number. So Father Brian's really cool. He's a farmer himself. He has apple orchards. He has bees. He's all into it. He really wants us to have this and make it work. So
Just for as I understand this, so let's say we have 25 vendors, and so we can have 75 people, other people, including us, in the space. But when one person leaves, another person can come in. So it's just any given time, 100 people in that space.
mhm.
All right.
That's why we need 2 counters. So it'll just, and the doors are just on the opposite side of the room. So, somebody could hold up a 3 and then let 3 people in. Somebody could hold up a 2 and let 2 people in. I guess there shouldn't be a 3. It should only be 1s and 2s. But I guess people could go out together. Yeah.
And I'm going to say that even in our regular winter markets, I don't think we had more than 20 people tops
At a time.
at a time. So
They all come in at once. They all came in at once and they all went over to Brush Hill. That's how it worked. They all came in at like 9:30, 9 to 9:30, and they all went to Brush Hill.
that's because Brush Hill sells out so fast.
Yeah.
I mean, she sells out of stuff within a half hour, 40 minutes. So if you're not there to get it, you lose.
Yeah. So people are just going to have to wait outside. I mean, as Jim says all the time, nobody said this was going to be fun. But there's, we're going to be one of the few markets that's going on. So I think the last thing we need ideas on is payments, to avoid having to give refunds. Do we just want to collect payment every week, every other week, for a month? Because I don't, Melody?
That might be a good idea because some of the vendors might have to cancel because they have a COVID issue. So then they can't come for that week, or we have to cancel because of COVID issues. Or, I mean, how responsive are the vendors going to be about paying weekly when they come in?
Have to pay up front, I guess.
But I mean, do you think that it's going to be difficult to try and collect?
No, I think if we just have a list of who's going to be there every week, one of us can go around and just collect payments from everybody and cross it off on an envelope.
Have to do something like that.
Every week.
Yeah, why? What do you care? You're not going to be there every week.
Or every other week.
Let's be nice to the committee members.
Especially the ones you live with. Bill.
So, well, refunds I understand are a problem, but is collecting money every week, is it somewhat of a logistical issue, or is that?
Yes and no. It in a way it is, but not as much as doing the paperwork for a purchase order and logging them all into the system and writing all the checks, and then the check writer goes on vacation and the check doesn't get sent. And yes, Jamie.
We could actually have people pay for at least the full time for a month, like just 1 month, because the second month, if they needed a credit, we could just tell them what they owe. I mean, that's something too, because you're going to have people that are full time. If you divided the 145 by, 4 months or whatever, just because at that point you still, even the first 2 months, you still have enough time to make adjustments and then figure out what they owe.
Melody?
Well, I was just thinking, but I mean, I don't know how this would work, is saying a full-time fee is this no matter what. You're knowing that this possible it'll be canceled, but I don't know if that would be just an issue. Like, people would be not happy about it. I don't know.
Melody, tagging along on that, we could say it's a $145 non-refundable unless we cancel the market. So if they have to cancel it for whatever reason, whether they've got COVID through their business or whatever, that's their problem. But if we cancel it, then we could do a credit.
Melody?
This is the other thing I was just thinking based on, so we think that we're gonna be good for the first 2 months, right?
I do. That's just my thinking.
So what if we said, okay, we're gonna do the first 2 months you pay, and then after that we'll require the next 2 months? Because if it's the second 2 months that we're most concerned about,
Mm-hmm.
maybe we say full-time vendors pay the first 2 months up front, and then at the end of that, if we decide we're gonna move forward, then you need the next 2 months. Or do it monthly, which is still better than weekly.
Yeah. Lori, were you going to say something? Or we just have April do all those purchase orders. I don't know. So if you were a vendor, what would you want? Do you want to pay every week?
Mm-mm.
Melody doesn't know. Jamie?
I don't see the thing about paying per week, besides the fact that I think it's going to be a pain. But what if somebody just decides they don't want to show up? You know, then we're potentially losing money. I really like the idea of you pay for what you sign up for, and if we cancel the market, then we'll refund you for that market.
Yeah. No, so yes, to address the comment that you made before, if people are sick, they don't get a refund if they're sick. They only get something if we have to cancel the market. And in the summertime, if it rained out, they didn't get any money back. So, yep, Lori?
I agree with, I think that's gonna, if they pay for the whole thing, it's gonna end up causing April just as many problems with PO orders. So I kind of like what Melody was suggesting. They pay for the 2 months and then we go from there.
And make it clear that that's what we're doing. Jamie?
The other thing that allows us to do is basically not to commit to the whole 4 months, just in case it doesn't work out or we don't have the attendance or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And then we can say, you know, we'll reevaluate in mid-December to let you know if we're going to continue on with January and February. And at that point, you'd be paying for the rest of the season. But then that gives us, because we don't know how it's going to go. We don't know how it's going to be.
No, I mean, Melody?
I was just going to say same idea, except I wouldn't put it that way, because then they'll be like, well, we want to guarantee that we're going to have somewhere to sell. What you could say is, our goal is to move forward for the next 2 months, but we don't know how it will be. So we want to make sure we're not taking funds from you if we're not able to support the next 2 months. But our goal is to have those, if we'll have it for the full 4 months. But we don't want to get into a situation where we're having to refund everybody.
It would be nice. I mean, they don't close down the grocery stores, so I don't know. You know, honestly, I don't think DOAG will close us down. I think the state numbers will get so low that it won't be worth it for us to go there.
Grocery stores don't close down, but I'm not getting paid $15 an hour either.
Neither am I. None of us are. And you know what? And so if you read the safety agreement, the first thing I listed on there as somebody who's making the rules is the market. So if we feel it's not safe, we stop the market. We're under no obligation to do something we don't feel comfortable doing. So if we go in there and we do this for November and December and we think, oh my gosh, then we don't do it anymore. I mean, I know Niantic is going to start up in January in their greenhouse, and they're only going to do food. I don't think they're going to do any crafts. I don't think we're going to have a lot of room for crafts. I just don't think we're going to have the space for it.
I just need soap, so you need to be doing at least a market or two.
So I could see April having masks. I could see me having soap. And if people want to set up outside, they can set up outside. But inside, space will be limited. That's for sure. So
I say we go for the 2 months. We see how it goes. We have to cancel. We cancel. Everybody pays for the 2 months, whatever their time frame is, and then we get to reassess, which is, I think, a benefit for us. To be able to have the time to reassess.
We don't even have to tell them we're going to reassess. We can just
Yeah.
make it because we're under no obligation. We just tell them because COVID is such an unsure thing that we're going to do payments in 2 months.
Right. And then that also gives us the opportunity to talk to them while they're there. Hey, things are going really well. We're thinking about continuing it to January and February. What do you guys want to, are you interested? So.
Yeah. And if you think about summer, so the results of the survey, most people, even though our attendance was half or less, most of the vendors did as well as in the summer. We just had less looky-loos, basically.
Some said they did better.
Some said they did better.
Yep.
And yeah. So Broadbrook was phenomenal. He had a phenomenal summer. I think John Fish did really well. He didn't respond to the survey, but I think he did really well. And Chet said he did just as good as he did last year in a full summer. So
Him and Logan, yeah, he and Logan were telling me that they might have even done a little bit better than last summer.
And I think the vegetable people were just thrilled. So, it's not that, like I always say, it's not the number of people who walk in the door. It's the number of people who open their wallets and spend money. 100 shoppers is better than 500 people who don't spend anything. We're not going to be counting our numbers really to brag about them. It's to be regulating the number of people in the room. So, all right. So what else do we need to discuss? So my plan is tomorrow to send an email to the go ahead, Bill.
Are we going to do pre-orders? No? Okay.
We're not going to organize pre-orders like Allison does. I think you'd have to pay somebody to do that. That's a lot of work. But if a vendor wants to take pre-orders, like if somebody pre-ordered from me, I'd bring it to the market. If somebody wants to pre-order bread, I'm sure that's fine with Canberra. It'll be like the summer. If the vendor wants to offer it, that's fine. I don't want the market to be responsible for those monies at all. At all. And, all those programs that do that for the market, they charge a lot of money.
Just so to clarify, though, I think we did in the summer market, they could pre-order through the vendor. We just provided made it easy for them to go to the, and deliver the food because, out to somebody's car or
It is
whatever.
a pickup area for it.
Yeah, pickup area. Curbside pickup, what everybody's doing. But it also could be the vendor's responsibility. I mean, it doesn't have to be ours.
That's true. If there's 2 vendors per booth. Jamie?
I was just going to say, if we are going to change the market to November, December, we just have to revise we voted on the date, so we'll just need to revise that before the end of the meeting. And I have to leave soon, so I didn't know if we needed to make a revision on that. Because we voted to have the meeting.
We voted 13 weeks.
Right, and I'm saying if we're only going to if we're going to start with 2 months, do we need to redo that vote? Only because I have to go pretty soon, and I didn't know if you'd need me to vote.
We can change that at any. That's a safety issue.
Right.
So if we stop the market, it'll be for safety reasons, not for.
Okay.
So, wow, we did good. Look at that! You even had to stay here for most of it. Thank you for staying.
Okay, bye guys.
Have a good meeting.
Thanks. Second time's a charm.
Woohoo! So tomorrow I'm gonna pull the trigger, send an email to and invite all the vendors, and I'm gonna tell them to be on the lookout for the application, and I'll probably do the application this week and then mail it and then get that out early next week. And have them, mail it in as usual. Yeah, Melody?
If you need any help with any of that, just let me know.
Oh, okay.
Mailing, enveloping, whatever. That's easy
Oh,
for me.
oh, oh. I email that.
Or emailing or whatever. If you just need any help, just let me know.
Okay. Lori?
I would attach the market agreement with that and tell people that if it is not included with their application,
Mm-hmm. Out the door.
their spot won't be.
Yep. I have to, the checklist of things that people need is going to include the safety agreement. And the safety agreement's going to go with the email tomorrow so that people know that that's what we're going to do before they even apply. But John Fish said today that he was interested. So we could have 11. I think Natalie wants to sell coffee. So, and then we have, so there were 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 potential full-timers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 part-timers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 guests. We're not going to be able to fit all that. It's from the survey response. That's not from getting an invitation to, I'm going to send a save the date email tomorrow. So that's that. Melody.
It doesn't look, I think we had to vote on the dates of the meetings.
Oh, the date's
we-
the meeting.
Can we do that at the, well, our next meeting is only in a week. So why don't we just, we can probably table that until the next meeting, right?
The next
a week
week
and a half?
is
2 weeks.
November 5th.
So we should be fine to wait till then, right?
Yes. Thank you for reminding.
Okay.
So what do you
All right.
guys
So we'll
think?
vote on that next week.
How do you guys think how do you think the market's going to go? Do you think we'll make it all 14 weeks? Actually, let's adjourn the meeting. Make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Second.
Okay. I'm going to stop recording. Stop recording.